The massive alien ship appeared suddenly, materializing just beyond Earth's moon. Its dark metal hull stretched for miles, dwarfing the International Space Station like a whale next to a minnow. Within minutes, every major observatory and military installation on Earth had their instruments trained on the vessel. Inside the United Earth Council's underground chamber in Geneva, emergency lights pulsed a soft red. Council members from every nation hurried to their seats, their faces tense under the dim lighting. At the center podium, Council President Thomas Miller gripped the edges of his stand, his knuckles white. "The transmission is coming through now," announced the Chief Communications Officer, her voice steady despite the circumstances. The massive screen at the front of the chamber flickered to life. An alien figure appeared, tall, humanoid, but with gray-blue skin and eyes that seemed to reflect light like a cat's. Behind it stood what appeared to be a human man in a crisp black uniform. "People of Earth," the alien spoke in perfect English, its voice processed through advanced translation software. "I am High Commander Rax of the Galactic Empire. Your world has been monitored for the past 50 years, and we have deemed you ready for integration into our magnificent empire." The human beside him stepped forward. "I am Imperial Ambassador Marcus. I can assure you that membership in the Empire brings great benefits. Technology, trade, protection. All these can be yours." His smile didn't reach his eyes. President Miller exchanged glances with Admiral Thompson, who sat in the front row. The Admiral gave a subtle nod. "High Commander," Miller responded, "we appreciate your offer. However, we request time to review the terms of integration." The alien's expression didn't change, but something in its posture shifted. "You have 24 Earth hours to accept. This is not a negotiation." After the transmission ended, Admiral Thompson stood up. "Mr. President, members of the Council, I need to show you something." He activated his secure tablet, and new images appeared on the main screen. They showed dozens of worlds, once vibrant planets reduced to mining operations, their populations relocated to cramped orbital habitats. "We've had deep space probes monitoring Imperial activities for the past 15 years, Thompson explained. "They systematically strip planets of resources, leaving them uninhabitable. Their protection is occupation. Their trade is theft." Murmurs filled the chamber. A council member from India stood up. "But their technology, their ships, how can we possibly resist?" Thompson smiled for the first time that day. "That's the thing. They don't know about Project Shield." He pressed another button on his tablet. New images appeared, hidden facilities around the world, advanced weapon systems disguised as civilian installations, energy shields that could cover entire cities. While they were watching us, we were watching them. Every piece of technology they've shown us, we've already developed countermeasures for. We've been preparing for this moment since we first detected their scouts in our solar system. President Miller nodded slowly. "And the other measures?" "In place," Thompson confirmed. "Every major city has quantum detection grids. Our gravity manipulation systems can disable their ships if needed. We've even developed ways to block their teleportation technology." The chamber erupted in discussion. Miller raised his hand for silence. "The question before us is simple but momentous," he said. "Do we submit to the Empire, or do we take a stand?" A council member from Brazil stood up. "We've spent centuries fighting among ourselves. But now, united, we're stronger than ever. I say we show them that humanity won't bow to threats." One by one, other members stood. The vote, when it came, was unanimous. Miller turned back to the communication screen. "Please inform High Commander Rax that Earth is ready to respond." When the alien commander's face appeared again, Miller stood tall. "High Commander, we have considered your offer. Not only do we reject it, but we are declaring all Earth space restricted. No Imperial ships will be permitted within our solar system. This is not a negotiation." The commander's face twisted in anger. "You dare." "We dare," Miller interrupted. "Humanity has evolved beyond the need for empires. We suggest you remember that. Earth out." As the screen went dark, Miller looked at Thompson. "And so it begins." "Yes, sir," Thompson replied. "But we're ready. We've always been ready." Outside, across the planet, hidden defense systems hummed to life, preparing for the storm they all knew was coming. Humanity had made its choice. There was no going back now. The sun rose over Earth's first line of defense, a network of satellites that appeared ordinary to Imperial scans, but held humanity's most advanced technology. In low Earth orbit, Imperial Ambassador Marcus watched the sunrise from his ship, his face tight with frustration. "They're making a mistake," he muttered to his alien superior. "Earth doesn't understand what they're refusing." High Commander Rax stood motionless, staring at the blue planet below. No world has ever rejected Imperial membership. The consequences must be severe. The first Imperial scout ships appeared within hours, sleek vessels designed to test Earth's defenses. They approached from different angles, expecting to easily bypass what they assumed would be primitive human technology. They were wrong. As the first scout ship crossed the orbit of Mars, a soft blue light pulsed from Earth's defense grid. The Imperial ship's engines suddenly died. Then another pulse, and the ship's artificial gravity failed. A third pulse left them floating helplessly in space. "Impossible," shouted the scout ship's captain as his vessel drifted powerless. "They can't have this technology." In the United Earth Council chamber, Admiral Thompson watched the scene play out on the main screen. "Signal the rescue ships," he ordered. "Let's show them who we really are." Earth rescue vessels approached the stranded Imperial scouts. Their design was unlike anything the Empire had seen. Smooth, almost organic-looking ships that moved without visible engines. They safely towed the Imperial vessels to a designated neutral zone beyond Mars. Ambassador Marcus stormed into the council chamber, his Imperial uniform now wrinkled from stress. "Do you realize what you've done? The Empire will not tolerate this insult." President Miller remained seated, calm. "This isn't an insult, Ambassador. This is a declaration of our sovereignty and a demonstration of our capabilities. You're primitives." Marcus spat. "Barely a century into spaceflight." Thompson stepped forward, activating a holographic display in the center of the room. It showed Earth's true defense network, layers upon layers of sophisticated technology that had been hidden from Imperial scans. "What you saw," Thompson explained, "was level 1 of our planetary defense grid. Would you like to see levels 2 through 5? The display shifted, showing technology that made Marcus's face go pale. Quantum fields capable of disrupting Imperial matter transportation. Gravity wells that could trap entire fleets. Energy shields that could withstand nuclear explosions." "How?" Marcus whispered. "We've been watching you." "Yes," Miller said, "just as we've been watching you. Every world you've stripped bare, every population you've enslaved. We learned from your mistakes, Ambassador. We prepared." Outside the chamber, across the planet, more defense systems revealed themselves. Hidden installations rose from underground bunkers. Ordinary communication towers transformed into defense platforms. The entire planet seemed to be awakening. In orbit, the Imperial fleet received new readings that made their commanders pause. Earth wasn't showing the typical energy signatures of a developing world. Instead, they detected power levels that rivaled the Imperial capital itself. "This is a formal notice." Miller's voice broadcast across all frequencies, in all known languages of the Empire. "Earth space is now a restricted zone. All Imperial ships must withdraw beyond the orbit of Saturn. Any violation of this boundary will be met with appropriate defensive measures." To demonstrate their point, Earth activated its gravity manipulation field. Every Imperial ship in the solar system found itself gently, but firmly pushed back, like leaves caught in a wind they couldn't fight. Ambassador Marcus watched in disbelief as his own ship moved without its engines engaging. "The Empire will not forget this," he warned. "Good," Miller replied, "because neither will Earth. You offered us membership in your empire, Ambassador. We're offering you something else. A chance to learn that not every civilization needs to be conquered to be great. As Marcus was escorted out, Thompson joined Miller at the chamber window. They watched as the Imperial ships retreated, their mighty engines helpless against Earth's technology. "They'll be back," Thompson said quietly. "Yes," Miller agreed. "But next time, they'll know exactly what they're facing. Earth isn't just another world for them to conquer. We're the world that said no." In space, Earth's true defense grid shimmered briefly, a vast network of power and technology that had remained hidden for decades. The message was clear. Humanity was ready for whatever came next. Earth's quantum detection grid lit up at exactly 3:47 a.m. Greenwich time. Director Anna Blake sat up in her office at Earth Intelligence Headquarters, her coffee forgotten as she studied the readings. The Empire was trying to be clever. "We have 6 shapeshifter signatures," her assistant reported through the secure comm. "They're attempting to slip through the grid disguised as meteor debris." Anna pressed a button, activating the global alert system. "Not on my watch. Deploy containment teams and wake up the president." The infiltrators had chosen their moment well. A natural meteor shower provided perfect cover for their pods to enter Earth's atmosphere. But they hadn't counted on humanity's quantum scanning technology, which could detect the unique energy signature of Imperial shapeshifters. In the skies above North America, defense platforms silently tracked the incoming pods. They looked like ordinary meteors burning up in the atmosphere, but the quantum scans told a different story. "All units in position," reported Captain Michael West from his command center. "Ready on your order, Director." Anna watched the tactical display, waiting for the perfect moment. 3, 2, 1, now. Invisible energy fields activated, surrounding each pod. The Imperial agents found themselves trapped in containment bubbles, their shape-shifting abilities neutralized by precisely calibrated quantum fields. But as Earth's forces moved to collect the captured infiltrators, a more disturbing alert flashed across Anna's screen. There were Imperial energy signatures coming from inside the government complex in Geneva. "We have internal compromises," she announced, her voice tight. "Multiple high-level officials showing Imperial biosignatures. They've been replaced." President Miller, awakened by the alert, joined her via secure hologram. "How many?" 7 council members, Anna replied, checking the data, including Ambassador Marcus's main contact, John Parker. "I always thought Parker's support for Imperial trade deals was too enthusiastic," Miller said grimly. "How long have they been compromised?" Anna's fingers flew over her console. "Quantum residue analysis suggests 3 months. They've been gathering intelligence, preparing for this moment." In Geneva, special forces trained in anti-shapeshifter tactics moved silently through the government complex. Their weapons were loaded with quantum-locked ammunition, designed to prevent shapeshifters from healing or changing form. The infiltrators realized they had been discovered. One of them, wearing the face of Counselor Parker, tried to access the central computer system, but Earth's defenses were ready. "Activating internal security grid," Anna commanded. The building's quantum field generators hummed to life. Every shapeshifter found themselves frozen in place, their atomic structure locked into a single form. "Did you really think we wouldn't be prepared?" Anna asked as she confronted the captured Parker impersonator. "We've been ready for Imperial infiltration tactics for years." The shapeshifter's false face twisted in anger. "How? This technology shouldn't exist on your world." "Because we learned," Anna replied. "Every time your empire conquered a world, we studied your methods. Every weakness you exploited, we fixed. Every trick you used, we developed a counter for." In orbit, the Imperial observation ships received the news of their failed infiltration. Their most elite agents captured. Their secret replacements exposed. Their careful plans shattered. President Miller addressed the United Earth Council, now purged of Imperial infiltrators. "Today's events prove what we've long suspected. The Empire won't respect our declaration. They'll try to take by stealth what they couldn't take by force. He turned to Anna. How long have we really been preparing? 20 years, she answered. Ever since our deep space probes first detected Imperial ships harvesting resources from the outer solar system. We knew they'd come eventually. We made sure we'd be ready. As dawn broke over Geneva, Earth's defense systems remained at high alert. The captured infiltrators were secured in quantum containment cells, their intelligence being carefully analyzed for future threats. They'll try again, Anna said, watching the sunrise from her office. Yes, Miller agreed. But now they know we can detect them. Every failed attempt makes them weaker and us stronger. In space, Earth's quantum detection grid continued its silent watch, ready for the next Imperial trick. The Empire was learning a hard lesson. Humanity wasn't just another primitive species to be conquered. They were the species that had spent decades preparing for this very fight. The Imperial diplomatic fleet emerged from hyperspace with a flash of light. 50 warships, their dark hulls gleaming in the sunlight, arranged themselves in an attack formation just beyond Saturn's orbit. At their center, the Imperial flagship stretched nearly 5 miles from bow to stern. Commander Robert Stone stood on the bridge of the Earth Defense Ship Defender, watching the tactical display. His crew worked silently at their stations, each trained for this moment. They're hailing us, his communications officer reported. The main screen lit up to show High Commander Rax, flanked by 2 Imperial guards. This is your final chance, the alien leader announced. Submit to Imperial authority, or face the consequences. Stone smiled slightly. High Commander, you're in restricted space. Please withdraw your fleet. You dare threaten the Imperial Navy? Rax laughed. Your primitive ships are nothing compared to our fleet. Primitive. Stone pressed a button on his command chair. Let us show you something interesting. Across Earth's defense grid, hidden systems activated. Thousands of satellites that had appeared dormant to Imperial scans suddenly powered up. The space around Earth began to shimmer with energy fields that no Imperial sensor could fully understand. First, Stone said calmly, let's test your engines. Earth's gravity manipulation system activated. The Imperial ship's powerful engines flared as they tried to maintain position, but it was useless. They found themselves being pushed back, gentle but unstoppable, like leaves in a stream. Impossible, Rax shouted. No civilization has this level of gravity control. Next, Stone continued, your weapons. The Imperial fleet fired their main guns, beams of energy that could crack planets. But Earth's defense grid caught the blasts in swirling fields of blue light, absorbing their energy completely. And now, Stone said, your shields. Pinpoints of light emerged from Earth's defense platforms. They passed straight through the Imperial shields as if they weren't there, stopping just inches from each ship's hull. In the United Earth Council chamber, President Miller watched the demonstration with Admiral Thompson. Are we being too dramatic? He asked. Thompson shook his head. They need to understand. The Empire only respects strength. Back in space, Commander Stone addressed the increasingly frustrated High Commander. Your shields operate on a frequency we mapped decades ago. Your weapons use energy patterns we learned to counter. Your engines rely on principles we've improved upon. To prove his point, Stone ordered a single Earth defense ship to move forward. It accelerated with impossible speed, its hull surrounded by a rippling field that bent light itself. In seconds, it had passed through the entire Imperial fleet, untouched by their desperate defensive fire. How? Rax demanded. Your world was primitive just 50 years ago. We were never primitive, Stone replied. We were preparing. Every piece of technology you see was developed while you thought we were just learning to reach our moon. We studied your empire, learned from your tactics, and built defenses you never imagined possible. The Imperial fleet tried to retreat, but found themselves held in place by invisible forces. Their mighty engines, capable of pushing ships through hyperspace, could barely move them an inch. We could destroy your fleet right now, Stone continued. But that's not our way. Instead, we'll escort you back beyond the restricted zone. And you'll carry a message to your empire. What message? Rax asked, his voice barely controlled. Earth is not for conquering, Stone said simply. We reject your empire not because we're weak, but because we're strong enough to stand alone. The gravity field shifted, gently but firmly pushing the Imperial fleet back. Their weapons were useless, their engines helpless, their mighty ships reduced to toys in Earth's gravitational grip. As the last Imperial ship was pushed beyond Saturn's orbit, Stone sent a final message. Remember this day, High Commander. Remember what happened when you thought to threaten Earth. We'll be watching. The Imperial fleet retreated in disarray. Their demonstration of force turned into a humiliating display of their own vulnerabilities. Earth's defense grid powered down to its regular state, ready but invisible to Imperial scans. In Geneva, Miller turned to Thompson. They'll be back with a bigger fleet. Yes, Thompson agreed. But now they know what they're really facing. Earth isn't just defending itself. We're changing the rules of the game. News spread fast across the galaxy. Even the Empire's tight control of information couldn't stop the stories. Earth, a single planet, had not only rejected Imperial membership, but had humiliated an entire Imperial fleet. On the mining world of Centauri Prime, workers watched smuggled videos of Earth's defense systems in action. In the orbital factories of Rigel, slaves whispered about the planet that dared to say no. Hope, dangerous and electric, began to spread. Admiral Thompson stood before the United Earth Council, presenting the latest intelligence. We're detecting increased activity across Imperial space, not military movements, rebellions. The main screen showed dozens of worlds where Imperial control was weakening. Supply ships disappeared. Mining operations shut down. Orbital habitats declared independence. They're contacting us, President Miller said, reading from his datapad. 17 worlds so far, asking for help. The council chamber erupted in discussion. Some wanted to stay isolated, to focus on Earth's defense. Others argued for supporting the rebellions. The debate raged until Director Anna Blake stepped forward. We made a choice when we rejected the Empire, she said. We chose freedom. Can we deny that choice to others? The vote was quick and decisive. Earth would help. Within days, Earth ships began slipping through Imperial space, using technology that made them invisible to Imperial sensors. They carried weapons, shield generators, and most importantly, knowledge. On the ice world of Proxima II, Imperial mining supervisors woke to find their control systems locked, their weapons disabled. The workers, armed with Earth-provided shields and gravity disruptors, took control without firing a shot. We've studied the Empire's weaknesses for decades, Thompson explained to rebel leaders via secure quantum channels. Now it's time to share what we've learned. The Empire tried to crack down, but found their usual tactics useless. Their ships couldn't track Earth's stealth vessels. Their weapons couldn't penetrate the shields Earth had provided. Their communications were intercepted by quantum monitoring systems that they couldn't detect. In the Orient sector, an entire Imperial battle group surrendered to local defense forces equipped with Earth's gravity manipulation technology. Near the Galactic core, 3 mining worlds declared independence on the same day. Their Imperial overlords trapped in their own orbital stations by Earth-designed containment fields. President Miller received daily updates in the council chamber. The Empire's economic model is collapsing, he announced. Without forced labor and resource extraction, they can't maintain control. But it wasn't just weapons and technology that Earth provided. They shared something more powerful, a blueprint for freedom. Each liberated world learned to build its own defense systems, to protect its own sovereignty. We're not creating an Earth empire, Thompson told his officers. We're teaching them to stand on their own. The rebelling worlds formed the Free Worlds Alliance, with Earth as an advisor but not a ruler. Each world developed its own government, its own laws, its own path to freedom. In Imperial space, panic began to spread. The seemingly endless resources that powered the Empire's war machine were drying up. Without slave labor and stolen materials, their mighty fleet began to weaken. How? An imperial governor demanded after his world declared independence. How did Earth do this? They didn't do it alone, replied the rebel leader. They showed us we could do it ourselves. Back on Earth, the Council reviewed the latest reports. Over 30 worlds had broken free from imperial control. Dozens more were on the verge of rebellion. The Empire's grip on the galaxy was weakening by the day. They'll have to respond soon, Miller said, studying the tactical displays. They can't ignore this forever. Let them come, Thompson replied. Every world they've lost is another ally we've gained. The galaxy is changing, Mr. President. The age of empires is ending. Across the galaxy, former imperial worlds raised new flags. Ships once used for oppression were rebuilt for exploration. The Empire's dream of total control was being replaced by something new. A galaxy of free, independent worlds, each standing strong, each saying no to tyranny. Earth had done more than defend itself. It had sparked a revolution that would reshape the galaxy forever. The Imperial attack began at dawn. Over 500 warships emerged from hyperspace, filling Earth's sky with their massive hulls. This wasn't a show of force. It was an invasion fleet designed to crush Earth once and for all. They brought their entire home fleet, Admiral Thompson reported, his voice calm despite the threat above. Just as we expected. In the United Earth Council's deep underground command center, President Miller watched the tactical displays. Earth's cities were already protected under invisible shield domes. Defense platforms powered up silently, waiting for the perfect moment. The Imperial command ship broadcast on all frequencies. Pitiful humans, High Commander Rax's voice boomed. You've corrupted our worlds, destroyed our order. Now you'll learn the price of defiance. Commander Robert Stone stood on his bridge aboard the Defender, watching the Imperial ships move into attack formation. Sir, he called to Thompson. They're deploying their new weapon systems. The Imperial fleet had indeed changed. Their ships now carried massive energy cannons, shield systems modified to resist Earth's gravity weapons, and what looked like reality distortion devices. They'd been preparing. Thompson nodded. But so have we. Activate Defense Plan Omega. Across Earth's surface, hidden installations began to rise. Mountains split open to reveal massive defense platforms. Oceans churned as underwater bases activated. The entire planet seemed to transform. The Imperial fleet opened fire. Energy beams powerful enough to crack planets struck Earth's shields. Reality distortion fields tried to tear holes in space itself. The attack was beyond anything the Empire had ever unleashed. But Earth was ready. Launch the counterattack, Miller ordered. Earth's defense grid came alive with incredible power. Quantum fields spread across space, neutralizing the reality distortion weapons. Gravity wells appeared in precise locations, splitting the Imperial fleet into manageable sections. Impossible, Rax shouted as his flagship systems began to fail. We analyzed your technology. We prepared for everything. No, Stone replied over the comm. You prepared for what we showed you last time. Allow us to demonstrate our real capabilities. The orbital defense platforms released swarms of autonomous drones, each carrying technology that made Imperial sensors blur in confusion. They passed through Imperial shields as if they weren't there, attaching themselves to ship hulls. Phase 2, Thompson commanded. The drones activated, creating localized fields that shut down Imperial systems one by one. Weapons went dark, engines died, shield generators overloaded. But the Empire wasn't finished. A second wave of ships emerged from hyperspace, carrying even more devastating weapons. They fired planet killer beams, targeting Earth's major cities. Now, Miller said quietly, Earth's final defense activated. The beam weapons struck what looked like empty air and vanished. They didn't impact shields or explode. They simply ceased to exist. "What is this?" Rax demanded, real fear in his voice for the first time. "We call it the Void Shield," Thompson explained. "It doesn't stop attacks. It removes them from reality. Something we learned from studying your reality distortion technology. We just made it better." The Imperial fleet, for all its power, found itself trapped and helpless. Their mighty weapons useless, their advanced shields meaningless, their vast numbers turned into a liability as ships collided in the artificial gravity fields. "Your empire is finished," Commander Rax, Miller broadcast, "not just here, but across the galaxy. While you gathered your fleet to attack us, 30 more worlds declared independence. Your economy is in ruins. Your control is broken." Stone's voice added, "You can still surrender. We'll ensure your crews are treated well." The battle ended not with a bang, but with a whisper. Ship by ship, the mighty Imperial fleet powered down their weapons. The greatest armada ever assembled was defeated not by superior firepower, but by human ingenuity and preparation. As Earth's ships moved to secure the surrendered fleet, Miller turned to Thompson. "Send word to the Free Worlds Alliance. The Empire's military might is broken." "Yes, sir," Thompson replied. "And, sir, the people should know. They should see what their unity and determination accomplished." Around the world, humans emerged from shelters to see the Imperial ships hanging motionless in their sky, defeated not by cruelty or overwhelming force, but by the one thing the Empire never understood: humanity's endless capacity to innovate, adapt, and overcome. 1 month after the Great Battle, representatives from 100 worlds gathered in Geneva. The Grand Council chamber, once used only for Earth's leaders, now hosted beings from across the galaxy. Former Imperial worlds, newly freed colonies, and independent systems all came together to shape the future. President Miller stood at the podium, looking at the diverse gathering before him. Some delegates were humanoid, others completely alien, but all shared the same look of hope in their eyes. "The Empire is gone," he announced. "Not destroyed, but transformed. Yesterday, the last Imperial governor surrendered. The age of forced unity is over." Admiral Thompson, standing nearby, added, "But our work isn't finished. Many worlds need help rebuilding. The Empire's collapse left power gaps that could lead to chaos." Director Anna Blake stepped forward, activating the massive holographic display. It showed hundreds of worlds, each glowing with a different color. "We propose the Sovereign Worlds Protocol," she explained. "Not an empire, not even an alliance, but a set of principles that protect every world's right to choose its own path." The protocol was simple but powerful. Each world would maintain its own defense systems, based on Earth's technology. Trade would be free but fair. No world could force its will on another. Knowledge would be shared openly. Commander Stone, now leading Earth's diplomatic fleet, reported from a former Imperial core world. "The transition is already happening. Former Imperial ships are being converted into exploration vessels. Weapon factories are building medical equipment. The change is remarkable." In orbit above Earth, the massive Imperial flagship was being transformed into a space hospital. Where gun ports once dominated its hull, gardens now grew. Its prison cells had become recovery rooms. "We're not just changing systems," Miller told the gathered delegates. "We're changing how worlds think about power itself." The new protocol spread quickly. Worlds that once fought over resources now shared technology to create what they needed. Former enemies worked together to clean up the environmental damage left by Imperial mining. A delegate from a former mining world stood up. "Earth didn't just show us how to fight the Empire," she said. "You showed us how to build something better." Even former Imperial citizens found their place in the new order. Many had never known anything but the Empire's rigid control. Now they learned about freedom, about choice, about the power of cooperation over conquest. "There will be challenges," Thompson warned during a council session. "Some will try to build new empires, others will resist change." "Let them try," Miller replied. Every world now has the means to defend itself. And more importantly, they have something worth defending: their freedom. Earth's role was changing too. No longer just the world that said no to empire, it became a center of learning. Representatives from across the galaxy came to study not just technology, but ideas: how to build societies based on cooperation, how to defend without becoming aggressive, how to remain strong while staying free. In the Geneva Council chamber, Blake showed the latest reports. Former imperial worlds were developing their own unique cultures, their own ways of life. Some chose to form small alliances. Others preferred independence. All were protected by the protocol. "We've created something unprecedented," Miller told the council. "Not an empire of force, but a galaxy of choice." The final piece came when the former imperial capital world asked to join the protocol. Their representatives arrived not as conquerors, but as equals seeking a new way forward. "Of course they're welcome," Miller announced. "That's the difference between us and the old empire. We don't reject. We don't exclude. We offer choices." As the sun set on that historic day, Miller stood with Thompson and Blake, watching ships from 100 worlds moving peacefully through Earth's space. "Did you ever think," Blake asked, "when we first detected their scouts all those years ago, that it would end like this?" "Not end," Thompson corrected. "Begin. This isn't the end of anything. It's the start of everything." Miller nodded, watching a group of children from different worlds playing in the council building's garden. They didn't see aliens or foreigners. They just saw friends. "That's humanity's real gift to the galaxy," he said quietly. "Not our technology, not our defenses, but the simple idea that being strong doesn't mean standing alone. True strength comes from standing together, while remaining free to choose our own path." Above them, the stars shone brighter in a galaxy no longer shadowed by empire, where every world was free to find its own way home.